Celsius. The battery is still doing the charging and discharging. And also IP55, which you can put the high voltage battery outside the house for installations, which is the AS5139. In most of locations is required the batteries outside. And you can see this is just a short demonstration to put the battery on each other and put the top units on is very quickly. There's no cable between each terminals and everything is on the quick connector here. And more features, if you guys have the old BYD 1.28 high voltage before, which is on the left-hand side here, you will notice there's basically the new battery cost very much a similar price with the old generation, but there's a lot of more features we're putting in a new generation this year. So first, the more compact design, we see the battery modules is from 1.28 to 2.76 kilowatt hours, which is more than doubled. And we put the LED lights on the top of the battery button, and basically we can tell what's wrong with the battery just by how the LED flashes. Easier installations, even though the old one is also putting up together. And the feedback is there's like, when you're putting multiple batteries all together, they will see like a gaps between each batteries and they don't like, the look of the gap. And now we improve on the screws, we improved on the gap issues. So now the battery looks much better on the exterior. And also improved the technical capability on the low temperatures. So for the HVM, basically there's no current derating because it's on the low temperature that this battery capable of doing very high current. And even though we lower derating the temperatures in cold, for example, a 0 degrees situation, it's still matching up with the GoodWe basically current rating, which is a 25 amp on the DC. I wouldn't cover too much here because I can give a whole basically explanation on this one. But just as mentioned, for the HVM with GoodWe high voltage, there will be no deratings because the battery, after it derating, it still has higher power output when connecting to the GoodWe. So you won't see any charging or discharge derated in the cold temperature scenario. And also simpler, and also you can parallel up to 3 towers, which is give more flexible for the customer. They can starting from a small unit and expand to a larger unit. On the packaging, we also improved that, so no plastics and more coherent usage, which is on the app. I'll cover in the next one. So on the left-hand side, we released a new app, which is called the BE Connect, which is able to let you to do the commissioning and also check basic status of the battery. We'll still improve on this because this year we only released the app earlier this year, and there's a lot of improvements we can make. And at the moment, we have the commissioning ready and we have checked the battery status ready. And further to that, we will put in the troubleshooting and the step-by-step installation in the app very soon, hopefully the end of this year. And also remote service. If you can connect your battery online, we can check on the system. For example, the customer saying the battery having issues is not working properly. If you get the battery connected online, we can simply go into the battery and check for you and let the customer know what's going on. And this is just showing you how easy to commission the battery. So first, you will see the BYD Wi-Fi here, and the password on the high voltage unit is in the last page of the installation guide. That's from the battery package. And just quick video show you how the battery doing the firmware upgrade. Okay, so that's the firmware is updated, and you will need to do a simple commissioning of the battery. First, time and date automatically already provide to you. Just click confirm, and you need to select the model, which is a HVS or the HVM. And this is just giving you one example, like how many battery in the array. You will see the LVL actually, that's the low voltage one, but it basically requires a similar information is how many batteries in one stack or one tower. And then is this off-grid, on-grid backup? So generally in Australia, please select all backup for the high voltage system because you will need a backup. And on the phases is a single phase or three phase, very straightforward. And after that, just submit the settings. That's all done. And you will basically get the similar basic information, how the battery doing, what's the firmware versions, what's the battery doing, current, and also the settings. So be careful, please select the correct name of or the brand of the inverters. Otherwise, it will make difference. And this is the PC software I mentioned, which we also offer you if you need to basically understand more of the batteries on the one you are installed. We can give you, another versions of the B Connect on the Windows laptop, and you can using this software to actually update or download the history of the battery. And just cover a bit more on the installation tips because our batteries is slightly different to the one you were doing before or to our old high voltage battery. Is to switch on the batteries, please remember turning on the battery first. Otherwise, the battery sometimes will trip the breaker. Basically, it's turning on any fuses between inverter and battery, if there's any, turning on the battery using the breakers, the built-in breaker, and also turning on the inverter at last. And how to switch off. Basically, you see we have a built-in breaker and some installer using that breaker to turn the battery off, but that's only turning the battery off in 30 minutes. To use the power button here, that's the power button to switch the battery immediately, all right? Couple more is, this is when you do the installations, just some of the tips I just would like to quickly cover is there's like a deep switches in the batteries, but just keep them as a default. If you have one tower, don't change anything. If you see the battery flashing 11 blue and 1 white, it is definitely communication wiring issues. Please double confirm on your communication because communication is very important to get the system working properly for the next 10 years. And we don't want to basically, risk anything if the communication was not okay. The battery will telling, okay, the communication not working. So please double check on this. And how to restart the entire system is also basically very easy. Is you get the inverter shut off first and then shut off the battery and wait 2 minutes and always turning the battery on first. For the high voltage, always turning the battery on first. And as I mentioned, basically the firmware upgrade, the minimum configuration list or any documents you can download in from the BYD website or from our website. There are also a service guide you can also download, which is for your self troubleshooting. So you can take a look at the this guide here. I'll quickly show you guys. So this is the service guide I mentioned. We have this for every battery system. And if you can downloading this, basically if has the checklist and if any issues, it tells you how to troubleshoot. So just in case if you're having trouble to contact us, or basically you want to understand more of this battery on the troubleshooting side. So please go through these documents. You can download it. I will upload to the Zoom chat for you to download if you want to take a look. And thank you guys. I'll give the presentation back to One Stop. And thank you guys.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Joy, for that presentation. Guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to write it in the comment section, and we'll be sure to answer them. So currently, we have one question from Martin Chape. Is it possible to replace the BCU in the earlier LVB box for this new BCU that has Wi-Fi and software?
Okay, so the early LVB box, there's two different ones. The one is a 3.5 or the 2.5. So if you're talking about the stackable versions, we don't have that option right here. Like because the early 3.5, it has the Wi-Fi already and also the software. For the 2.5, which is the black module, you see probably that's more popular in the market. We are going to have one option is basically on the front panel, we will do some changes early next year, and giving you the option is make that old battery a much smarter. So just let me know if you actually having this kind of issues, or you want to get the old installation basically more smarter or more featured. You can contacting us. We'll let you know the updates, but definitely yes, we are looking for some option to get the old battery more features, and to by replacing or to swap the units, the old units.
Cool. Thanks, Jay. Hope that answered your question, Martin. And well done on the polls, guys. I've seen you answer them all, majority of you correctly. So well done. Regarding the establishment year and the investor, you got that correct, 1995 and Warren Buffett. And also the max capacity for the HVM and HVS. So as you see in HVM, the max capacity you can connect to one inverter is around 66 kilowatt hour. Basically, this consists of 3 towers maxed out, and each tower you can have up to 8 HVMs, I believe. And the HVS is a bit smaller. You can also have 3 towers connected to an inverter, but each tower only has 5. So that's why the capacity is less in the HVS. Okay, thank you, BYD. That was really awesome. Now I think we'll move on to GoodWe's speech and presentation. So I'd like to call Dean to take over.
Thanks, Ramsey. I'll just share my screen with you. Just give me one moment. Just let me know when you can see my screen, Ramsey, if that's all right.
Yep, and I can see it.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, firstly, thanks, Ramsey, and also One Stop for hosting the webinar. Of course, One Stop have been a really close partner of ours within the Australian market for quite some time now. And by the same token, thanks to BYD, not only a close relationship within the Australian market, but also on a global level. And right now, every single one of the GoodWe storage inverters is compatible with BYD, and currently the only battery brand that all of our products are compatible with. I'll just move to the next slide here. I'll give you a brief overview of GoodWe, who we are as a global organisation, who we are in the Australian market, and then I'll also give you a brief product overview, as we've only got limited time today, and then I'll pass it through to Mike, who will give you a little bit more technical details surrounding our storage inverters. First of all, GoodWe, we have just on 1,000 staff, or sorry, over 1,000 staff at the moment. I think it's about 1,600 now we've got globally. We've just recently had a publicly listing for GoodWe. So we IPO'd about 4 weeks ago. As a result for us, that'll really, I suppose, enhance our expansion globally into a few other markets that we're not currently in. We currently have 12 gigawatts of capacity, which is split between 2 different manufacturing plants. One in Suzhou, China, which is where our head office and first manufacturing facility is. And then a few hours away in the city of Guangzhou, we have our larger manufacturing facility, which accounts for about 80% of our manufacturing capacity. That gives us 12 gigawatts of capacity, but we also have double the amount of land as well. which we think will be really important in years to come, that we can certainly build more manufacturing plants to account for the future volume. We have 3 R&D centers. We've got 200 R&D staff at the moment, and within the next 12 months, we're looking to double the amount of R&D staff. And as I said, we're also looking to rapidly expand in some other global markets. This slide here just gives you an idea of subsidiaries that we've got at the moment, and without going into every single one of them, of course, you know, we've got offices in China. In Australia, we've got our head office based in Melbourne. We've also got employees based in Sydney and also Brisbane as well. One of our largest markets for commercial and industrial is Turkey. The Netherlands is a really big residential market, similar to Australia, also in Brazil, and a couple of other countries that aren't listed there is America and Japan, which are the next 2 countries that we've just set up, and we'll be looking to invest heavily in there. And we've also now got presence in Germany as well, and the UK is a really big storage market for us as well. This slide here just highlights some of the awards that we've been lucky enough to win recently. I suppose firstly, for the last 2 consecutive years, GoodWe was awarded the top PV inverter manufacturer by EUPD Research in the Australian market, which was a really big achievement for us. PV Magazine awarded us globally as the best inverter for the year of 2020. About 2 months ago, we were named as now the largest storage inverter supplier globally by Wood & Mackenzie. And we've also been awarded a TÜV Rheinland All Quality Matters Award for the last 5 consecutive years, which is a really big achievement, and hats off to the R&D and Q&A teams in China. Now I'll just give you a brief overview of the products that we have on offer in the Australian market in terms of storage inverters. Firstly, we've got our single phase low voltage hybrids, which is the ES and the EM. The ES is the 100 amp version, 100 amp charge and discharge limit, which is still the leader in the market at the moment. We've had it now for over 5 years in the market. Proven to be really reliable, seems to be really popular amongst the installers. We have that in the 3 and the 5 kilowatt versions. And as I said, we've also got the EM version, which is very similar to the ES. Main difference there is that the EM has only a 50 amp charge and discharge limit, as opposed to the ES, which is 100 amp. We then move to our AC coupled retrofit solution, which is our SBP inverter. That's also low voltage, and we have that in the 3.6 kilowatt and also 5 kilowatt versions for single phase. We then move to the newest of our storage inverters, which is the EH series. This one is a single phase hybrid as well, although this one's high voltage as opposed to the other 2 that I mentioned were low voltage. This one comes in a 3.6, a 5 kilowatt, and also a 6 kilowatt. And this is really unique and probably the most flexible storage solution we have, in that we offer this one in 2 different ways. First of all, as a full hybrid, and then secondly, as a hybrid ready inverter. So if you purchase this as a hybrid ready inverter, effectively you're not paying the cost of the full hybrid. You're paying a much less cost, a pricing similar to that of just a string inverter. And then if the customer wants to upgrade and add batteries at a later stage, let's say 12 or 24 months, then they simply just call us up and they can purchase an activation code, and then we remotely update that software, and that then becomes a full hybrid inverter. And the reason we brought this one into the market and we offer it in 2 different ways, because we think there's still, you know, a large portion of the market that want batteries, but then, you know, they feel like they either can't afford batteries right now, or they want to wait, you know, 6 or 12 months until they're ready to add batteries. And what we're saying is you don't have to pay the full price of the hybrid up front. You just buy the hybrid ready, and then when you're ready to add the batteries, then you can just buy the activation code from us. We upgrade the software, and then that becomes a full hybrid inverter. So that one's starting to gain some real momentum in the market. Previous to that, the ES is probably our highest selling storage inverter in Australian market, but the EH is quickly catching that. And then we move to our three-phase storage solutions, which is our ET series. And this comes in two different models, the 5 kilowatt and also the 10 kilowatt. We actually also have a 6 and an 8 kilowatt that we can bring to the Australian market. We haven't up until now because we thought the 5 and the 10 was enough, but we're starting to get some demand now for the 6 and 8. So that's something that we'll potentially look to bring into the Australian market, maybe within the next 6 months. And in addition to these inverters that I've mentioned, we also have a couple of others on our product roadmap. So we also have a commercial storage solution that'll be called BTC series, and that'll come out next year, and we'll offer that in a 50 kilowatt, 100, 150, and also a 200 kilowatt versions. And that'll be, initially that'll be an AC coupled storage solution. And then we'll also look at offering those in full hybrids as well. This slide here was just to highlight some of the All Quality Matters awards that we've won recently. I mentioned before we've won it 5 consecutive years in a row. But important, I thought, because we're talking about storage products, and we can see here that nearly every one of our storage series that we have has actually won this award. So we're really, really confident with the storage inverters we've got, the technical features, and also the reliability. We can see in 2015, the ES series won the award. That's our 100 amp low voltage hybrid. We can also see in 2017, our AC coupled retrofit solution, which is the SBP series, won the award. And where we really try and promote this product is if someone has an existing system on their wall and then they want to add storage to it, what we say is you don't need to take that existing inverter off the wall. You just add the SBP to it, and then it's basically inverter agnostic, so it works with GoodWe and also any other brand. And then you can simply add your batteries, and then you're not having to actually rip that existing inverter off the wall to add the hybrid to it. So that's where we really promote the SBP. In 2018, the ET series won the award, which is our 3-phase hybrid in the 5 and the 10 kilowatt. That's high voltage. And then in 2019, our EH series, which is the new one that we've offered into the Australian market, it comes in the hybrid and also the hybrid ready, won the award in 2019. This slide here is it's just a statement of declaration from GoodWe that I suppose not all the installers know. But if we're talking string inverters, as you know, the maximum STCs that you can claim is, the maximum you can oversize your inverter is by 33% in order to claim STCs. That rule doesn't apply with storage. So it's effectively what the inverter manufacturer is comfortable with allowing. And we did some really stringent testing in China to see what we were comfortable with. And so with the ES 5 kilowatt inverter, we're happy for you to oversize this 8.5 kilowatts. And with the EM version, we're comfortable with 7.5 kilowatts of panel. And that's basically it from myself in regards to the overview. And I'll hand it back to Ramsey, and I'm sure Mike and Glenn can talk a little bit more technical. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks for that. As you can see, GoodWe is no stranger to the inverter game, and they have really great inverter roadmap and portfolio of products. And now Mike would like to go further into the details specifically for the ET GoodWe 3-phase hybrid, and talk about its installation and compatibility with batteries, in particularly the BYD, as you just seen. So Mike, could you please present?
All right, thanks, Ramsey. Let me share my screen. First of all, how's my voice? Clear?
Voice is clear, yep.
Perfect. Just share the screen. That one, just try to upload your box. Microsoft Share home. Can you see my screen now, Ramsey?
Yep.
Is that press PPT or?
No, not the PPT, just you've taken the screen.
Okay. Just one second, share the screen for the Dropbox. Cannot really share my screen. Still broadcast. Still cannot see my screen?
Still cannot see. If you want, I can share the PPT, Mike.
Yes, if you don't mind, I actually sent my latest one to you a few minutes ago. If you don't mind, just say whether you receive it. You got it, Ramsey? All right, perfect. All right, thanks everybody. So firstly, thanks for Ramsey one-stop set up this webinar together for BYD and GoodWe. And just a bit self-introduction. My name is Mike. Have been working for GoodWe for a few of years in the service and operation department. And because today's time is quite limited, so instead of give you full trainings for the products, what I do is I just pick up a few of the value points we believe we should share with you guys in advance. And this value points comes from either system designing or installation wiring or commissioning for our three-phase hybrid inverter. So this slide, the first one, just mainly talk about the design part. When we usually talk about the storage, especially for low voltage, the key thing for us just for to decide what's the proper battery size. Just make sure the battery is not too big or not too small for customer. But when we talk about the high voltage storage, besides of the battery size, there's another key part is we need to make sure the voltage comes out from the batteries can actually stay in the inverter request voltage range. So basically very similar like the MPP range on the string inverter. For high voltage hybrid inverter, all the inverter has a battery voltage range. When you design the system, you need to make sure your battery voltage stay in this range. So for example, like this BYD HVM 8.3 kWh battery, which is only 3 battery stacks, the nominal voltage is only 153 volt. So that means compare with our battery range, which is from 180 to 600 volt from the inverter, then this basically this voltage is too low for the inverter to operation. So so that you basically cannot use this HVM 8.3 kWh together with our three-phase ET series. And to simplify everybody's job, I have a battery approved statement. Basically, we list all the battery modules which can work with our hybrid inverter together. So Ramsey, if you just click, you can show everyone this statement. Yeah, so that's the statement. So basically for our ET together with HVM, only battery you cannot use is 8.3 kilowatt. Any other larger size battery, you can just use it straight away with our three-phase storage. Yeah, this slide mainly just talk about the AC wiring for our storage inverter. So basically they have 2 points need to be careful. First one is the phase order, because the three-phase hybrid inverter has a phase order because the inverter basically back up the three-phase load. So when we talk about three-phase load, we know the load has a phase order. So for GoodWe inverter, the phase order is clockwise. So always make sure when you finish the wiring, make sure your phase order is clockwise. If it's not clockwise, then the inverter will just basically show a phase order fault on the apps. And also on the inverter itself, the fault level on. Then for installer, you just simply swap either two phases, either at the bottom of inverter or in your meter box, so that inverter can work. And another key thing for three-phase storage is the phase order of the phase on the inverter must be 100% matched with the phase in the meter box for your smart meter. So for GoodWe, we give you a CT meter in the box already. It comes with two welding wide meter together with 3 CT clamps. So as installer, you put this meter CT into the switch board, and this function of this one is just mainly to control battery charging, discharging. So what we have to make sure is the phase connected to the inverter must be matched with the phase connected to the smart meter. So for example, like this one. So at the bottom of the inverter, L1 you connect to the phase color red, L2 is phase color white, and L3 is phase color blue. Then at the bottom of your smart meter in your meter box, at the bottom you have L1, L2, and L3. You also need to connect phase red, phase white, and phase blue to these three phase voltage reference point. And on the top, actually you have 3 CT clamps. This is a little bit tricky, is actually the top CT clamp consequence is actually opposite with the bottom one. So for example, at this one, you have 1 on right, 2 on white, and 3 on blue. So on the top, from left to right, you have blue, white, and red on the the CT position. So just make sure you wiring this properly when you install the system. And also the arrow on the CT clamp point to the grid. So we can jump to the next one, Ramsey, please. This one mainly introduced about the backup. So as you all know, all GoodWe hybrid inverter comes with the backup function, which achieve to UPS level. And this one thing is in Australia, the neutral must be continued. Therefore, when you're wiring the backup into the inverter, just keep in mind always just bringing your neutral from backup back to the neutral on your neutral bar in switch board. Otherwise, without bringing this neutral cable, when you select any country setting relevant to the inverter, the backup cannot be enabled. Simple like that. So this just emphasizes this neutral link together. The next one is not super new for the market. So basically what happened is, I think since last year, all our local DNSP requests have their own unique grid connection request. So basically to simplify everybody's job, what we're doing is we preload all these grid settings under the apps. So for installer, when you're commissioning the inverter, all you need to do is just select the local energy provider in your area. Then all this grid connection setting point has been preloaded into the inverter already. So you don't need to just change anything else. Just simply select this country code directly. So this Excel just show you the setting points under each DNSP request. And this one is mainly for customers in South Australia, because as we all know, after since October this year, all inverter in South Australia, if you want to be installed, your inverter must comply with the VDRT function, which means voltage disturbance drive through. So for all GoodWe inverter, including the PV inverter and hybrid inverter, have all get relevant test report and also the certificate. And also all this inverter has been listed on the OTR website. So for installer, to commission a hybrid inverter, you don't need to do any firmware upgrade. All you need to do is just go to settings and select the advanced settings. And we have customer safety parameters. We just turn the VDRT function on from there. So basically, this the app's screenshot, how easy to activate this function. And also what we foresee is in short future, more and more DNSP potentially will have even more localized grid connection standard, even in the different specific area. So what we're doing right now is we try to open we try to make this platform or apps more open to installer. So you can just log in to change all these grid relevant setting points if you have any special requests from the DNSPs. And of course, all this has been protected by the installer password on the apps. So we can jump to the next one. Let me see. Yeah, this is another quite useful function for customers in New Zealand, not in Australia, because in Australia, when we talk about the three-phase inverter, we always suppose the inverter just produce equal power across three phases. But in New Zealand, it's a little bit different in Australia. So basically, in New Zealand, they just pricing the electricity based on each phase. So they have some requests is they may ask for the inverter to do zero export, and then they also want to just maximize customers' benefit. So for our three-phase hybrid inverter, what we can do is we even can do an unbalanced output, which means once you turn this function on through the apps, the inverter will just measure each phase particular load, and the control inverter to just produce the power to offset this load on this particular phase. Yeah, this once again is quite unique for New Zealand market only. And as I mentioned, we always just encourage customers to connect the inverter to the internet all the time. Main reason is, firstly, we can remotely diagnose the problem or even make some change remotely or upgrade the firmware. Secondly, for customers, they can understand their storage system even better. So like this sample on the slide, customer can see all the power generation or what's the system doing in any particular time every day. So for customers, they can see the PV generation and whether the battery is charging, discharging, or how much is the load, and also how much electricity is still in your battery at that particular time. And also this another one, next slide, is show you basically the daily consumption. Ramsey, if you don't mind, just push to the next slide. So this one can show you in any day how much your solar generation, consumption, or how much your solar contribute to your solar system, etc. And as an installer on this same portal, we even can more technical details. I just have an example in the next slide. So basically, this is a three-phase storage. And besides of just seeing the solar generation, battery, etc., the installer also can see the load on each particular phase and also the meter status on each particular phase as well. So there's more function on the SAMS portal, but just because of the time, I just pick up this as an example. So I think, Ramsey, this is all my part. As I mentioned, if you have any question, always just contact with us straight away.
Brilliant, Mike. Thank you so much. Hope you guys enjoyed that presentation. Once again, any questions, please feel free to ask. And now I'd like to conduct some polling. So first question, how many single-phase storage inverter models do GoodWe offer? Well, I believe is 5. So majority of you answered 3, which is not quite right. So we have the ES and EM. I counted them separately at least. So those are the low voltage single phase hybrids. And then we have the SBP, which is a low voltage AC retrofit. Then we have the BH, which is a high voltage AC retrofit. And then the EH, which is a high voltage single phase hybrid. So that's that. Let's go to the next question. What is the input battery voltage range for the GoodWe ET inverter? So now, oh, sorry guys. Yeah. Now you can see the analytics. Okay, so most of you answered correctly. Nice. Let's go to the next one. What is a unique feature that can be performed on the SEMS monitoring portal for a GoodWe system? This one should be pretty obvious. We've just been presented this by Mike. So this wasn't really a question. I just thought I'd put it out there because I wanted to emphasize how cool the individual phase monitoring was on the SEMS. So I think that's a really cool feature to understand the load consumption profile characteristic of a house. So you can, you know, design a better system or understand how you can connect certain loads better or worse. So that's really cool. Cool. Thank you, GoodWe. Thank you, Mike and Dean. And now, guys, I would like to play a video on behalf of Glenn Morris. Unfortunately, due to some little technical difficulty, he's not been able to join. So nevertheless, I'll play a video on his behalf of his presentation. So please enjoy.
Okay, look at that. Put him in the room.
First of all, guys, can you hear the video?
No, we can't.
No, we can't.
Okay, you're in the room.
Okay.
Can you? I can do that.
G'day, I'm Glenn.
How about now, guys?
That's better.
Cool.
Yeah.
Please enjoy this short clip from Glenn Morris, guys. Cheers.
Morris from the Smart Energy Lab, and today in the lab we're looking at the new GoodWe EH and ET hybrid inverters and the BYD HVM battery. These are amazing combo. The single phase EH inverter has some amazing features. It's got a built-in DC isolator, which is fabulous. You don't have to add an external DC isolator. It's upgradable from a pure grid connector system to a UPS system with activation code, and it also has very high power over rating. So this unit can be powered at 33% more PV power than the AC output, which is great because on less than perfect days, you really want that extra PV watts to maximize the amount of renewable energy you're using. In hybrid mode, these have an external CT, both units, and a meter. The meter's great. It's only 2 modules wide. It's got a little display with some LEDs on it, so it tells you that there's communication occurring, which is really speeds up fault finding if you're trying to work out why the meter's not reading. Both of these have UPS backup functionality. There's less than a 10 millisecond transfer when the grid fails, so the backup port is hardly interrupted, 10 milliseconds or less. Now the ET series, which is the 3-phase storage inverter, comes in several sizes. This is the 5 kilowatt unit up to the 10 kilowatt unit in the same form factor. So they're a very compact 3-phase hybrid inverter. Also can be installed as a grid connect only, and adding the BYD battery or other compatible battery systems with the GoodWe ET. So things that are great about the ET is the wide battery voltage range from 180 volts to 550 volts, and that suits the BYD approach, which is a stackable battery module. So you can have, I think 3 is a minimum, up to 8, which is 22 kilowatt hours of storage, which makes for a very tall battery, but you can have multiples in parallel as well. So you can build quite a big system using the BYD HVM battery. These are fanless, nice and quiet, very light, easy to lift, and a compact design, so they don't take up a lot of wall area. The maximum efficiency of both of these is really high, 98.2%. Now, something I found really interesting about the BYD battery is that it's got an integrated Ethernet port. So it not only communicates with the GoodWe inverter for management of the battery, but it also can be communicated with directly. So for BYD fault finding, they can, or comms setup problems, they can directly talk to this battery, upgrade firmware, and look at the profile of its use, etc. So that integrated Ethernet port's a bit of a unique feature on a smart battery. So, in summary, a great combination, either the single-phase 5 kilowatt or the three-phase GoodWe ET coming in 5 up to 10 kilowatt units with the BYD battery.
There you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And once again, thanks to GoodWe and BYD for presenting. And yeah, so does anybody have any other further questions they'd like to ask? Just checking the Q&A box. Hi. So there's a question from Donald Yelland. He's asking, hi, loving the GoodWe stuff. Before we invest too heavily in it, do you offer a web API and local API? We are doing a lot of automation. So Mike, would you like to answer this question? Hello, Mike, are you there still? Okay, looks like we've lost Mike. Anyhow, I think we have just got a hold of Glenn Morris, so why don't we put him on the line now? I can't hear you. So I don't think the sound is coming through, guys, but I think Glenn will run us through his presentation anyhow. And also, guys, I'll send the video that I just played to all the attendees after as well via email, so don't worry about that. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think GoodWe and BYD was made by the same manufacturer. They look so compatible with each other. The specifications, the monitoring integration, even aesthetics even. I think they both look quite great. As you see, the BYD is quite easy to install, modular design, very quick installation process. That's a couple of highlights I'd like to add. Tim.
There's no audio.
Yeah.
He's talking away, he's having fun, but there's no audio coming through.
That's all right. We'll resend another video after all attendees. Unmute, everyone's hearing.
What do you mean? It's not muted, like I'm not on mute. It's basically not picking up the audio from that to that. I thought it might. Hang on. Settings. No. Where's... Where's Zoom? Bloody Zoom.
Guys, I know majority of you are electricians and installers on site, so please ask if you have any questions.
Oh, bloody.
Hi, Jason.
The trackers, and there's a SunClick style connector for your battery. So that's great. And I'm just chuckling here to myself because I'm in the side window. I can see Tim from One Stop Warehouse cheering and jumping up and down. So I'm not sure if that means it's all going well. Maybe thumbs up, Tim. Yes, it's all going well. Great. It's like having an audience of one. And you know what? I just think these units look great together from any angle. That really tall, small footprint of the BYD HVM just sits in against a wall nicely. If it's going in a home like a garage, for instance, it's not going to obstruct the access. It doesn't take up a horizontal space. So, and with the 4-stack I've got here and the ET on top, it's just a very nice looking combo. So, you know, me and my mate, Fat Boy Slim, we really love this combination. Thanks very much, everyone.
That was it.
Over to you, Ramsey.
Thanks, Glenn. And sorry, guys, again for all the technical difficulties. That was unprecedented, but nevertheless, I hope you still took value, took some understanding, and you enjoyed. So this is pre-recorded as well, so I'll post it to our YouTube channel afterwards, and I can send any other resources you would like afterwards too. So if there's no other questions, I think we'll put an end to this webinar today. And yeah, looks like there's no more. So thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed once again, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you to the GoodWe and BYD team as well, and Glenn.
Thanks, Ramsey. Cheers.
Thank you.